nice if there was an indicator that predicted a stock's movement. Well, luckily, I've spent years creating custom stock market indicators, so in today's video, we are going to attempt to build one together that can predict stock movement. As we're going through this video, if you become at all interested in this sort of codified trading, I have published all of my codes over on my website, daytradingstrategies.net, or if you would like to learn how to code yourself so that you can build your own indicators, there's also a course available. Link in the description down below. Let's get to work. The best part about building these codes yourself is that you begin to learn how the market moves and what works to help read it. This builds your knowledge and makes it easier to build indicators in the future. For example, I know that the simple moving average set to a length equal to 200 is a great way to objectify trend. When we are above this, we are in uptrend. When we are below this, we are in downtrend. So let's start with this information. If I hop into studies and edit studies here, we can go ahead and create our own, and I'm going to define a couple of variables. First, let's define an uptrend variable, set it equal to when the current bar's closing price is greater than the simple moving average set to a length equal to 200, of course. And let's define a downtrend variable, of course, when the current bar is closing less than the 200 length simple moving average. There are, of course, two factors in determining direction of a stock. There is trend and there is strength. And once again, in my years of building these custom coded indicators and strategies, I have found that the best indicator personally to use to determine the strength of a ticker is the RSI. So let's come back into our study here and let's add the RSI case into our uptrend and downtrend. So I'm going to use the keyword and, meaning now both statements on either side of this and need to be true in order for the uptrend variable to be true. The RSI function is greater than 60. We're going to start with 60. Now, I'm not going for a reversal kind of indication here. I don't want to see when the stock is maybe pulling back and looking for a dip buy. No, we're looking for something that can predict what is likely to happen. And a stock is more likely to continue in the direction it's going than it is to reverse. Does that mean stocks never reverse? Of course not. But when building a predictive tool like this, I believe, and listen, this is the beauty of codified trading. Once we get this all set up, maybe we find out it stinks and we can come in and easily change it, right? But I believe for my initial thesis that going with the direction of the RSI for both uptrend and downtrend is going to be the right move for this one. I've skipped forward and gone ahead and created the code for painting the arrows. Here, of course, is the code for anyone interested in copying this indicator. But basically, if the uptrend is true, then at the low of that current candle, paint an arrow pointing up. If the downtrend is true, then at the high of that current candle, paint an arrow pointing down. If we go ahead and apply this study, we should now see arrows drawn on the chart. This is great. There is one kind of issue, though, that I sort of foresaw coming after making the previous clip. What I'm going to do here is instead of just greater than and less than on our RSI values, let's use crosses above and crosses below. This is now only going to be true on the candle where, of course, previously the RSI was less than 60, and on the current candle, it's above 60. Obviously, vice versa for the down on 40, and that should clean it up a lot. And this indicator looks pretty good. I mean, maybe a little obvious at this point, like, hey, this thing's going up, so it's pointing up arrows. Hey, this thing's going down, so it's pointing down arrows. But that's okay. Obvious is okay with me as long as it's correct, right? Let's go ahead and look over at a stock SQ. I like to look at this ticker because it goes straight up and straight down. If we move my noggin a little bit more out of the way here, let's move me over here. You can see when this thing is strong, you're getting nice up arrows, nice predictive strength out of this indicator. When it begins being weak, you begin getting down arrows. I mean, look at where you get your first down arrow on this thing. If that's where you stopped trying to long it, like if you were longing all of this because you were getting your predictive up arrows, you would have done very well. And then once you got these down arrows, you're like, all right, hey, maybe it's wrong. Hey, listen, maybe the indicator's wrong. Sometimes it's going to be wrong, just like anything in the stock market. But does it help? If you avoid, hey, okay, maybe it's weak enough, I'm going to stop trying to buy dips on this thing, you saved the entire downside move here. Of course, a major benefit of this custom study is you can now come in and you can turn off your 200 length simple moving average and your RSI. Really clean up the chart. Right now, you can just, without having all that mess on, see where the stock might be strong, where the stock might be weak. And this gives you more room to provide further kind of manual analysis without the other studies being all up in your way. You can, of course, utilize good coding practices to make this code even better. What I've gone ahead and done here is I've added 3 input variables at the top of our code. Each one of these variables represents one of the integers we were calling earlier, being the moving average length, the upwards RSI value, and the downwards RSI value. Now, instead of having those integers hard-coded into my uptrend and downtrend variables, I am instead rather calling the input variables. If you know nothing about code and all that sounded like Chinese to you, all you really need to know is what you can do now is you can come into the settings cog on this study and say you want to look at instead the 100 simple moving average with the buy RSI being 70 and the sell RSI being 30. Go ahead and apply that. You will notice the arrows change how they are painted. Because there's not going to be one set way that this study is going to work for everybody. It's going to depend on your trade style, your risk management, your goals of trading, what you're looking to profit, etc., etc. So having it set up in this way just allows you for much easier customization so you can find how this fits your trade styles the best. If this study is interesting to you, it, as well as over 75 other custom-coded studies, stock scanners, and even trade strategies are all available over on my website, daytradingstrategies.net. Click on our codes and sign up today. Or if you're the kind of person who would rather know how to fish, how to make your own codes in the future, you can sign up for the course. Once again, link to the site in the description down below. Go sign up today and become a better trader.